This week on ArtsBeat, the home movies of Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters, Milena Rysick attends a cast reunion of Wet Hot American Summer, and a naked performance on Wall Street. Art, protest, or stunt.
Monday started out like any other work week on Wall Street, with an army of well-dressed people marching down into the financial district. Then their jackets started coming off, their shirts, their pants, their dresses. For a site-specific piece of performance art, an artist named Zephyr Thrall got 50 people to strip completely naked as they did jobs that you might see on Wall Street. Everything from street sweeper to day trader.
My mother, she lost her entire retirement due to the crash in 2008, and she was furious that there wasn't more accountability in Wall Street. So I came up with this project, and it's kind of an absurdist Freudian nightmare/dream.
The police didn't exactly get it. They arrested 3 people in front of the New York Stock Exchange, charged them with disorderly conduct. They were later released.
I figure she needs to go see a psychiatrist.
The rest of the performers thought of the project as just a lark, a way to indulge their desire to get naked on the streets of New York instead of a piece of political theater.
If art is doing anything, maybe it's doing something where it just makes people look twice and say, you know, what's going on here?
The economic statement seemed to be lost on most passerby as well. If this was a statement, one woman asked me, what were all these naked people trying to say?
Please remember next time, no stripping in the museum. Thank you. And please, I said no cameras in the museum. I'd really appreciate it.
Do you remember the comedy Wet Hot American Summer? It was released in 2001. Critics didn't like it, and at the time, audiences didn't either. It barely made $300,000 at the box office. In the decade since, it's become a cult hit. This week, the cast and filmmakers got together for a special 10th anniversary reunion show in Brooklyn. It sold out in 90 minutes.
I often think that the resources you have work in inverse proportion to the ultimate quality that you get. Sometimes, you know, necessity is such a mother of invention. In this movie, we didn't have the luxury to do lots and lots of takes or get a lot of camera angles or do a lot of improvisation. We had to just sort of really get the script where we wanted it and then shoot it.
The movie is set in a summer camp in 1981, and it had a cast of unknowns that have since become famous, like Amy Poehler, Bradley Cooper, and the then burgeoning heartthrob Paul Rudd.
Come on, I want to make out.
Okay, but not here.
A lot of the movie's fans were not even born in 1981, but they are connecting to its depiction of summer camp and to the movies it spoofs. Is this what you wished your camp experience would be?
Absolutely.
The movie was sort of ahead of its time and zeroing in on a particular slice of pop culture and dissecting it in a way that's familiar to the internet age.
You have to factor in the American Apparel-ish adult kickball league in Williamsburg tube sock, dolphin shorts, fashion aesthetic that has happened anyway.
It's totally silly, but it allows people to indulge in nostalgia for a time they maybe weren't even around to see.
Capture the flag!
Traffic.
This is Ed Marks. I'm an editor on the culture desk at the New York Times. On Friday, a new documentary opens that tells the story of the fabled 1964 LSD-fueled road trip by Ken Kesey and the Merry Pranksters.
We're being assailed by a swarm of joints.
The documentary is called Magic Trip, Ken Kesey's Search for a Cool Place.
You have to get hold of the microphone, I can't hear you.
It takes place in this bus, a 1939 International Harvester school bus that ended up with a few more colors than yellow after the pranksters finished painting it.
Everybody get back on the bus.
This footage is part of dozens of hours shot by the pranksters on 16mm film in an attempt to document their trips.
50 miles, New York 50.
The California to New York excursion on the bus, and trips to rather different realms experienced along the way. Years later, he and the prankster Ken Babbs put some of it on videotape and offered them for sale. I bought 2 about 15 years ago. After the trip, Kesey tried to produce a film from the raw footage, but it never materialized. The footage was stowed in film cans in Kesey's barn in Oregon until the documentary directors and producers Alex Gibney and Allison Elwood bought the rights from Kesey's widow. But it had many problems: wobbly and amateurish cinematography, scratched and deteriorating film quality. The audio and video did not always match, forcing the documentary makers to call on technicians and audio experts who spent years trying to salvage the footage. At one point, Ms. Elwood even hired a lip reader to decipher what people on screen were saying.
All we got to eat is a lobster.
Looks like we'll just have to get high.
Of course, given the LSD factor, even when you can tell what they are saying, it might not make much sense. Or it might be profound. Either way, it was unquestionably a long, strange trip.
Cigarette! If possible, I could go by Madison Avenue and go in there and ask if I could get the whole Viking staff turned out.
Viking staff, correct, sir. Well, let's handle that first. Viking first.